Ever since the beginning of the pandemic, I've been really focused on what's in my pocket, specifically making sure that I cut down on anything excessive, while at the same time also going for a tan leather aesthetic look. And so you can see by my keychain, by my wallet, that I've been pretty successful. And now I think I found the perfect cover for my phone with the Bullstrap case for the iPhone 12. As you can see, it looks fantastic. It definitely looks the part, and I'll spoil it for you guys. It definitely protects your phone in the case of a drop. But despite these two things, it is a really difficult case for me to recommend to you. So before we get into it, let's start by doing a quick spec rundown. So the Bullstrap iPhone 12 case is made out of top grain leather, and it also has a microfiber interior. And my understanding is that there's a casing around the phone between the microfiber and the leather to help keep your phone safe in case of a drop, and also to help keep the phone keep its shape. If it was pure leather, after time, just due to weather and things like humidity changes, the case would deform and lose its shape. Now, I got mine for about $80.75 at the time of this recording, and it comes in three colors. It comes in this tan color, which is called sienna. It comes in a darker color called bourbon, which is like a darker brown, and it also comes in a midnight blue type color, which I think looks really great as well. So let's start off with what I like about the case, and we'll start with the obvious. The first thing that I like is I really like the way that this case looks. It does look fantastic, and just like any other leather product, it is gonna patina, and it's gonna patina really nicely over time. That's something that I was really interested in when I picked up this case. I wanted something that would eventually look worn, look natural, but at the same time look classy. This definitely has held up in those regards. The leather itself does look and feel very premium. It's in terms of just like the visual appeal, like I said earlier, this is a case that's not going to disappoint on that front. But related to that, I also really like the way that this case feels. One thing that this case does for your phone is it makes the phone much more grippable. One of my complaints with the iPhone 12 was that the edges are a little bit too sharp, and it's a little bit too hard to grip onto, and it will slip from your hands. And in fact, that happened to me a couple times before I got this case. With this case, I feel a lot more secure the way that I hold the phone. I feel like it's gonna stay in my hand, and I feel like it's not gonna slip out. But also, like, the case itself feels really nice. Like, this is something that you can touch it and you can feel that this is genuine high quality leather. But then on top of that, the way that Bullstrap did the buttons on the phone, I think are really nice. They put plastic notches on top of where the buttons on the iPhone 12 are, so you actually have a physical button that you can press and it will activate whatever button it is. I know some cases will just cover up the buttons and you have to mash really hard. That's not the case with this. The buttons feel really nice. There's a cutout for the silent switch, and then as you can see underneath the lip of the phone, instead of just having a grill over, they just recess the lip down, which I think is perfectly fine. In terms of the size of the case, I think they really nailed this part as well. This case has enough bulk to protect your phone without being too bulky. So as you can see, the case comes just over the lip, which is wide enough to protect your phone in case of a drop. And if you've ever dropped your phone, you'll know that typically you're either dropping it face down or on the corners of the phone, around the edges somewhere. And there is definitely enough material here to protect your phone. And I can speak to that with personal experience because unfortunately I have dropped this case a couple times. But moving on to phone protection, like I said, it does protect your phone. In the case of a drop from about, I would say 5 feet, which is about the height of me standing holding the phone to my face like this, it will protect your phone. And like the 3 or 4 times that I've dropped it, from a mix of concrete to the hard floors to the hard carpet in my house, it has protected the phone, and I haven't noticed any new bits of damage or wear to my phone as a result of using this case. So with all of those positives, why is this case so hard for me to recommend? Well, it comes down to one simple thing really, and it's that the case itself is not very durable. Now, you probably noticed this in some of the close-up shots of the phone that I show you, but this case, the leather of it is not very durable at all. And I think part of that is just to be expected from a case that is pure leather. But I will say, after just one drop, I noticed that my case was starting to suffer a little bit of damage. At first, it didn't really bother me because I just felt like it was something that added to like the rustic aesthetic feel of the case, like a little bit of tear, but like not too much to where it was noticeable. But you know, I am somebody who has dropped my phone a couple times Once was on concrete, which was the really bad, which was that first drop that gave that first bit of micro tear. But also just like normal drops, like from like a foot, maybe 2 feet, places where I wouldn't expect of any other case to suffer any sort of damage. And I started to notice that I've been getting damage on other parts of my case. It's mostly all in the corners. You can see like bits of it starting to tear away, but also just like minor bumps will cause the leather to bunch up and deform a little bit, which I guess, like I said, the case is pure leather, so that's to be expected a little bit, but it's really disappointing from an $80 case to have your case damaged and to not be able to do anything about it. It really takes away from the look after a certain point, which is counterintuitive to why you would purchase this case in the first place. So that was a little bit disappointing. Now, Bullstrap does say on its website that they will replace the case within the first year due to any sort of fall damage. And they do state that this case is not designed to take very many falls, and it's a more delicate case. But I feel like for $80, you're paying for a high quality case and you expect it to look nice year round. And I think it taking any sort of damage due to a couple falls is a little bit disappointing because, you know, let's be real, I think most people drop their phones, and so I think most people are gonna suffer some sort of damage with this case after just a little while, which to me is a little bit disappointing. So Bullstrap does say that this case is a little bit fragile and it's not meant for a lot of extra drops. From the website, they say the Bullstrap leather iPhone case is an aesthetic luxury product and should be treated as such. Bullstrap is not liable for any damage to your case and or phone due to drop or misuse of the item. And to be fair, they shouldn't really be held liable for any damage to your phone because that's just an issue with you dropping your phone. But at the same time, they do admit that this is a weaker type of case, and I think that's a little bit disappointing coming from an $80 product. So at the end of the day, do I recommend this case? It's really difficult for me to recommend it just because the look of the case, which is what I think most people are going to buy this case for, is going to wear out over time if you do drop your phone. If you're somebody who can hold onto your phone and who doesn't drop it very often, I think this is a really good option. If you're somebody who doesn't mind 1 or 2 minor drops here or there, or if you don't mind using Bullstrap's policy to have your case exchanged for a new one in case of any fall damage, I think it could work. But I'm really disappointed that with an $80 case, just after a drop or 2, it's going to suffer damage. And I think there are some other competitors in the space who are making high quality leather looking cases that can compete with this pretty well. In a couple of days, I'm getting a Nomad case, so I'm gonna be interested to see how their approach to designing a leather case compares with the Bullstrap case. And there's some other folks out there as well who make cases that are less expensive, but claim to do more. And so time will tell if this is a case that I strongly recommend to people in the future. But again, what I will say is that this case will protect your phone. It does look great, especially in the first couple months you use it where you don't have any sort of fall damage. And so if that's something that you're after, then it definitely is worth checking out. But if you're after something that's gonna be a little bit more durable, you might check out something from Nomad, and I'll have a full review of that in the coming months. Other than that, I appreciate you guys hanging around to watch. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.